Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 62 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa V3, Killing Harmony. Alright, it's time to begin the third class trial. Rumble, 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 ramble, 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 ramble. As usual, we walk toward the elevator in silence. As soon as we remaining survivors stepped aboard, we descended. Perhaps because there were fewer of us, the elevator seemed to move faster, and so we fell faster and faster, downward into the black. The elevator stopped, and just like always, the doors parted slowly. The light that shines on us from the other side, the bright light of our future. Or is it?
Uh-oh.
Boy, they look really depressed. Must be because there's even less participants now. Don't say they look depressed. You'll make Mono damn sad. As much as I'd love to keep hearing this adorable back and forth, let's hurry up and get this started. At last, the class trial will begin. I hope you enjoy it to your heart's content.
The third class trial was about to begin. Angie Yonaga, the ultimate artist. She created the Ultimate Academy Student Council to try to prevent the killing game. Then, Tenko Chabashira, the ultimate Aikido Master. She hated men, but I knew that she hated this terrible killing game even more. The two who were killed were both trying to stop the killing. And who was the one who killed them? Was it one person? Two different people? We need to pin that down in this class trial. In order to live, we have to find the truth. And I will fight for it. I will fight with truth and lies in this class trial. Do you want to save? Yes. Yes, I do. Alright. The third class trial is about to begin. So I'll explain why last time I wanted to get some extra levels so that I could use that tranquility ability. So it says, in an attempt to resurrect the dead, Angie is killed. During a seance to search for answers, Tenko is killed. Are the two related? The third trial begins. Alright, cool. If I didn't explain it last time, I basically was like, alright, tranquility will go, I think it goes here, it's worth 16, I have exactly 16 points to use, so that's why I wanted to do it. There's not really much else that I would want to get here. Upshift might be worth it. If you want, you can get something yourself, but yeah, none of these are particularly good, so we'll hold on to our skill points for next time. Alright, begin the class trial. Let's go.
Now then, let's begin with the basic explanation of the class trial. During the trial, you'll present your arguments for who the culprit is, and vote for who done it. Vote correctly, and only the blackened will be punished. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will graduate from this academy. Also, refusing to vote will result in your death, so you better vote for someone. Now, smiles, everyone! It's showtime! Let's get this crazy awesome trial underway!
Sorry, everyone. I don't think I'm gonna be much help this time. Because of Monokuma's disruptions, I couldn't do a thorough investigation.
I can tell Monokuma is overcompensating to hide his self-consciousness.
Next time, spend less time fixing your hair and more time investigating, spaceman!
Shut up! I don't need to hear some comedy act from you two weirdos.
Who did it? Who killed Angie and Tenko?
Do not let your emotions hasten your judgment. There may be two killers.
So, our other culprit might not be one of us here.
Hmm? What do you mean?
The transfer student. Maybe our resurrected transfer student dragged Angie and Tenko into the grave.
Stop it! Stop making stuff up!
Say something, Shuichi. It'll be a mess if this keeps going on.
Is it even possible for a revived corpse to be the culprit? Well, in the interest of being thorough, I should clear things up here. One thing I want to point out that I haven't had a chance to is the X's on all the dead students are all actually like sort of related to them, to where they're on. I'll show you what I mean in a moment.
They came back to life and killed 2 of our classmates!
No! So, ritual did work?
Who was resurrected, I wonder?
Angie did say she was gonna bring Rantaro back. Yes. Rantaro was resurrected. The culprit is the late Rantaro Amami!
Please, stop it!
This isn't about believing in reviving the dead. I have to focus on their statements. Were all those statements correct? Alright, this one's not too bad to start off with. One of the things that was said there was that Gonta said that the ritual did work. But if we go to the Necronomicon, it has a really long explanation about how to actually do it. One thing that is in here, it says, after preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. So, if we use that, I hope I'm thinking about this right. I'm not thinking about a later moment. We'll find out in a sec.
So, ritual did work?
So you gotta eliminate all these, and fire. Okay, I got it.
That's wrong!
I don't think Angie's ritual succeeded. According to the Necronomicon Monokuma showed us, you have to burn the Necronomicon in the ritual.
After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. Use caution. Be mindful of carbon monoxide poisoning. Sprinkle the ashes on the effigy and repeat the name of the deceased 3 times.
If Angie's ritual had succeeded, the book would have been gone.
So she must have been killed before the ritual was complete, since the book was still intact.
Then, Gonta think Rantaro probably not culprit.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Well, duh. There's no way a dead person could resurrect.
Now hold on a second! I can't let that comment stand! Sure, everybody knows that you can't bring the dead back to life. But it's easy at the Ultimate Academy, as long as you use the Necronomicon.
What are you talking about? There's no way that's possible.
But it's true! I never lie about motives.
Daddy said so he can't be wrong. Raising the dead is totally possible.
Man, I can't believe you guys wasted such a perfectly good motive. You should have let me use it to bring Monodum back to life.
Monodum is still alive, though.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't waste a resurrection on Monodum's corpse.
You're on the threshold of an amazing adventure.
Oh? So resurrecting the dead was actually possible this whole time?
There's no way it's possible!
There's no way that could happen, idiots. Monokuma is trying to confuse us. Let's hurry up and find out who the Blackened is.
If our transfer student isn't the culprit, then blame falls to one of us.
Who? Who did it? Step aside, Half Pint. I'll handle this. I don't know about Tenko, but I'm pretty fucking sure Kyo murdered Angie.
What? Why?
Don't play dumb with me, Creepshow. I already know what happened.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I don't know if I finished my thought, but the X's on the dead students all relate to them somehow. Tenko's one, I think, is related to her hair tie.
The katana to kill Angie. And it was found in Kyo's research lab. Which makes you, Kyo, automatically suspicious.
But anyone could have taken that katana, you see.
So that rusty katana was the murder weapon. You were the only one who cared about that thing, Kyo.
I did not care about some katana.
Just admit it, you shit-eating worm. You went to the classroom, broke in, and murdered the fuck out of Angie! Booyah! I'm a fucking genius!
Okay. Is Korekio really the culprit? Does that story fit the facts of the case? We should think about it from the beginning. Alright, so Mew said there that Korekio broke in. But if we have a look at, well, Kokichi was the only one that could actually go in and out because he could lockpick if the door was closed. But it's Sumugi's account said that Angie had locked herself in the artist's lab since yesterday, working on the ritual. She would not unlock the door unless someone from the student council asked her to. And Korekio wasn't part of the student council. So if we wait here, go, go, go. Come on. Alright, here we go. So with this one, you gotta wipe out, smack that, wait until it goes over there, and then fire. Nice. They really did a good job with the words moving and all that. Some of them are really hard to hit in time.
No, Kyo would not have been able to enter Angie's lab. Isn't that right, Tsumugi?
Yeah. Before Angie locked herself up in her research lab, she said she wasn't going to open up for anyone but student council members.
And Kyo is not a member. She wouldn't have opened the door for him.
Kyo couldn't have killed Angie even if he wanted to.
I had no desire to kill her in the first place.
So whoever killed Angie must have been one of the student council members, yeah?
I was doing a bit to lead you to the right answer. Can't believe you actually got it.
Oh, how clever.
You can just ignore her, Gonta.
The remaining student council members are Gonta, Kibo, Sumugi, and Himiko.
Well, it can't be Himiko. She was besties with Angie. I trust their friendship. You guys do too, right?
Yeah, of course.
Can we trust their friendship so readily?
Obviously. Let's believe in them.
That trims our list of suspects down to 3. Gonta, Sumugi, and Kibo.
Yep. The culprit is one of those 3 people.
You mean one of those 2 people? 'Cause a robot ain't people, Jack!
I will let that remark slide. Anyway, aren't these accusations just a tad too hasty?
Whatevs! The culprit should confess already! Gonta, Keyboy, or Sumugi? Well?
No, not Gonta. Gonta would never kill Angie.
Yeah, Gonta's a gentleman. You shouldn't suspect either of us.
Hey, stick up for me too.
Gonta definitely not hurt anyone. Torture Gonta if you don't believe.
Torture might be a bit too far, but Gonta and I aren't the culprits.
And I'm not the culprit either. Jeez.
I'm not the culprit.
We're not the culprit.
Alright, time for a mass panic debate. So, let's see.
We must consider other possibilities. Surely there must be suspects outside the student council.
Student council.
That's utterly impossible.
A dead chick
Gonta
can't
and
be the
Lou talking to
culprit.
bug friends.
Why?
Only student
Much
council
better than
members
hanging
had
out too late
access.
at night.
Look, I don't know who the
I
culprit
didn't know
is,
robots told such boring lies.
but it's definitely not
Is
me.
that a robophobic remark?
There were several suspicious statements, but one is obviously inconsistent. I'll listen carefully, sort the statements in my head, and find the answer. Alright, so for this one, it's... what's his face? Kokichi. So we gotta listen to him.
That's utterly impossible.
A dead chick
Not just
can't be the
anyone could open
culprit.
that door.
Why?
Only student council members had
There we
access.
go, he says only student council members, but that's not true. Damn, missed. He had access too, because of his lockpicking.
No, it wasn't just student council members that could have opened that lab door.
What was it you said earlier about Kyo opening the door, Shuichi? Unless you're a student council member, you can't enter Angie's lab, right?
I was referring to Kyo. He couldn't have done it, but you could have. Because I saw you open the classroom lock by picking it.
Kokichi pulled out some thin needles and stuck them into the keyhole of the lock. Click, click, click. Clack. There. Open says me. What is that, like the third time we've seen this?
Oh, that happened? I totally forgot.
So you're going to pretend you don't remember, huh?
Quit glaring at me like that. Of course I remember. Yeah, I did it. I killed Angie.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
I picked the lock to her lab, snuck into the room, and then wham! Killed Angie. The culprit was me, all along.
What?
What are you saying? Is this some kind of joke?
Nah, no joke. I thought that if I confessed, I could atone for my sins. And it helped. I feel so much better. Whew!
Wait, so Kokichi really is culprit?
No, he's lying. I think. Maybe?
He's lying. I'm certain of it.
No, definitely not a lie. I killed Angie. Shouldn't you guys believe the culprit when they confess?
Then let me ask you, culprit. How did you lock the room?
Huh? Well, it's the same as opening it. You pick the door closed from the outside.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Huh? What doesn't make sense? Can't you lock a door by picking it?
Maybe, but that's not how the culprit locked the room. They used a different method.
What different method? Yeah, Mumbles. Use your big boy voice and explain yourself.
There were 2 doors to the classroom, and the one locked last was.
The one locked last was the back door. I can't remember exactly how you're supposed to know, but
That's it!
they're gonna explain.
The back door. That's how they made this a locked room mystery.
The back door had a sliding lock, yes? How was it locked from the outside?
The culprit used a certain tool.
The tool that the culprit used to lock the sliding lock from outside was... Oh, we got a mine. Okay, so in this mine, you actually have to find one of the hidden Monokumas. Remember that they exist in the thing, so let's try and look for it. I'm actually trying to do this like semi-properly. Nice. Okay, that sucks. Yeah, let's get that. Where's that hidden Monokuma? There it is. Okay, so press triangle on the hidden Monokuma, and then the answer is actually the katana, because it was there and the sliding lock had gold leaf on it. The other 2 options were the sheath and the sickle. but it's definitely the gold leaf katana. Make sure you get that hidden Monokuma.
Gold leaf katana that was stabbed into Kaede's effigy. The culprit used that to hit the knob of the sliding lock to lock the door.
So the gold leaf was on the sliding lock
Because when the katana hit the lock, some of the gold leaf rubbed off on it. The gold leaf on that katana did peel rather easily.
That evidence rings a bell. Specifically, a school bell.
Huh? Are you talking about a different school? What school was it?
Now, that doesn't matter anymore. Let's not dwell on the past.
Ooh, the gold leaf landed on the sliding lock when the katana touched it.
I'm pretty sure he was referencing the first game.
So that means the culprit used the katana to move the sliding lock, right? But wait, how did they move it with the katana? And from outside Angie's lab?
The clue that might give us the answer is the layout of the area itself. It was an odd setup after all. The katana stabbed into the effigy. The effigies hung upside down.
Angie didn't do that as part of the ritual?
No. Nowhere in the Necronomicon did it say you had to hang the effigies.
If it was not part of the ritual, then it must have been for a different purpose, right?
Different purpose. What could that have been? The culprit somehow used the setup to lock the room. In that case, I need to know the reason behind every step of that setup. If I do that, the way the culprit locked the room should be clear. Alright, time for a psych taxi. I like this one because I was able to, I think even on my first playthrough, I was able to figure out exactly what they were trying to go for here. Yeah, I did. I was like, I hope I have that ability that gives you more letters. One thing here that I didn't point out in Psych Taxi, if you look at the posters on the left and right as you're driving, they actually sort of show off different little like event moments in this chapter. I'm actually confused about what this first one is showing though. Oh, it's Kibo using the flashlight function? Yeah, it's really hard to tell because the coloration is weird. Alright, what turned the handle of the sliding lock? Well, we know that the sliding lock had gold leaf on it, so it must have been the katana in some way. And it wasn't on the effigy, so it must be the katana's hilt. Okay, so the hilt is sort of where you hold the katana. Yeah. Okay, so now if it was facing the opposite way, how do we know, or how did it hit that lock? So we collect these ones. I don't want to miss any here. 1, 2. You can't stay in the middle, by the way, the car's not big enough. Although if you have that other ability from, or skill from the casino, it might be big enough. Nice. Okay. What was done to make the katana turn the lock? That image there is the magic circle with Tenko. Again, the coloration is different. Alright, what was done to make the katana turn the lock? So, they had to... Katana was stabbed into the effigy, sliding the sliding lock was fine, we tried it, so all we know now is that the katana was stabbed into the effigy. Alright, final question. Go. Yeah, these things, this one is the Ultimate Academy Student Council, so you have Angie there in the center with the rest of the members except for Gonta. So that's pretty cool. Also, I don't know if I showed it off, but if you press R1 you can slow down time here to make it a bit easier. How was the effigy manipulated to make the katana affect the lock? Yeah, so this is probably the hardest one to figure out, but yeah, I was able to sort of work it out. It was spun, so they spun Kaede's effigy around and around and around so that it could spin backwards, or spin downwards afterwards, and then hit the lock. Really involved and over the top, but yeah.
The reason the culprit stuck the katana into the effigy was so that it would hit the sliding lock as the effigy spun.
Effigy spun?
That's right. If you spun the effigy, the rope it was hanging from would twist. Then, if you let it go, the rope would unwind and the effigy would spin the other way. And of course, the katana would spin with it.
I see. So the culprit used the katana's counterspin to push the lock into place?
The culprit simply needed to spin the effigy's rope and then swiftly leave. This would cause the spinning katana to hit the sliding lock. And thus was the back door of an empty classroom locked from the inside.
Yes, that's how Angie's lab was locked. By using the effigy with the katana.
A plan born from the heart of a sword traveling through the air to intercept us. Oh, but could it have moved the slide lock so easily?
The sliding lock was pretty loose. A little push could move it. As long as the spinning katana hit the lock, it would have slid into position.
Even if the culprit failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it locked.
Yeah, this is one massive point that I didn't even think about, and I'm glad that the game put it in there. Even if they failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it was locked. So they could do it as many times as they needed to, eventually it would hit. Also, even if the sliding lock wasn't super loose, it would probably still close because it was like quite an amount of force had been built up. Final thing, Ryoma's X is similar to what you would get kind of like on a scoreboard because he was a tennis pro. So I love that little detail. And Angie's, I guess I'm assuming Angie's is like, oh yeah, now that I look at it, I think I see it. So the halo is obviously like an angel, and then she's kind of got like these sort of wings. And I think the top wings that are like sort of arced up and then down are supposed to be like devil wings, and then the other wings are supposed to be like angel wings. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's kind of what they were going for there. All right, let's keep going.
Which is why the culprit chose to strike at nighttime, as to avoid detection.
Yes, since the student council prohibited anyone from walking around at nighttime.
Are you saying it's the student council's fault?
I didn't say that.
In any case, the culprit probably used the murder weapon for this trick. It had to have been the right length to hit the sliding lock from the effigy.
The culprit couldn't find a blade long enough in my lab, so they settled for the katana.
The other effigies were only hung up so we think it was some kind of ceremony. That way, you wouldn't notice the lock trick.
But Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed. I don't want to completely ignore that possibility. But I can't imagine the culprit would have done all this just for a distraction.
If that's the case, then Kokichi's confession earlier was actually...
Seriously? You fucking lied again?
Cough it up, Kokichi!
Oh, man. You guys got me. Okay, I'm not the culprit.
You're telling the truth this time, right?
I want to say I'm lying, but I'm not.
Why did you say you were the culprit?
I wanted to lure the culprit out. If I claimed to be the culprit, then the real culprit would agree as well. You get me? And if they pressured me to confess, then that would have looked mighty suspicious. Sheesh. Darn it. It didn't go my way because Shuichi butted in on my plan.
You and your fucking lies! Go sit in the corner and play with yourself!
Okay, I'll start right now.
Alright, so who's the asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
You. I can't hold it up anymore.
What's the matter? You going soft on me now?
Who made the locked room mystery doesn't matter, since anyone could have done it. Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
Yeah, they went there.
Cum dumpster! Finally! Someone finally called me a cum dumpster!
What should we talk about now?
Thank you, Kanta.
We must focus not on the locked room, but on who entered Angie's lab. Only one of the student council members or Kokichi could have gained entry. Therefore, the culprit must be among their number.
That leaves us with 4 suspects. Tsumugi, Gonta, Kibo, and Kokichi.
Don't forget Himiko. She's also a part of the student council. Doesn't matter if she was besties with Angie, she's still a suspect.
That contradicts what you said earlier, which I can prove using my recording function.
It's fine. That's just a waste of time.
Me? A suspect? Never kill Angie!
So, calling all suspects, what should we discuss next? I want to hear everyone's opinion. What would you say to get yourself off the suspect list?
Why are you trying to lead the debate? You're a suspect too.
Silence, outsider! Only the suspect rangers are allowed to speak.
Suspect rangers?
I agree. Those under suspicion should explain themselves thoroughly.
We might catch them with their pants down!
Anyway, I want to ask the suspect rangers. What should we talk about? What should we say to get ourselves off the suspect list? Well, guys, I want to hear what you think.
That's sort of a difficult question, you know?
Gonta not smart enough to know answer to that.
Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question.
Not articulate with words, huh? Don't you guys want to prove your innocence?
They don't trust you one bit, and I don't blame them. You're probably plotting...
Why did Tenko have to die?
Huh?
I want to know what happened to Angie too, but... Can we talk about Tenko's case now and not just Angie's?
I got you exactly where I wanted, Himiko.
What do you mean?
The 2 victims could have been killed by 2 separate murderers, you know. So we need to find the first Blackened responsible for the first victim. We've got to figure out who killed Angie. Until we solve Angie's case, Tenko's case is meaningless. Did you suggest that to waste our time?
It's not meaningless!
Himiko.
Tenko's death was meaningless? How dare you! Poor Tenko! How could you do this to her? Himiko...
Himiko, stop it with your crappy lies.
Lies?
Everything you said is total BS. You didn't give 2 shits about Tenko when she was alive. But now you're like, oh no, poor Tenko, after she's dead. Come on, really?
Kokichi, enough!
No. It's okay. It's no surprise he'd think that. I know I ignored Tenko before. That's why I'm so upset now. I should have faced Tenko. Worked things out with her while she was still alive. But now, it's too late. I can't complain to her or thank her. It's too late.
Yeah, seriously! It's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Face her death?
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth. I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito. All right. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless. The name of the curse is... Death Curse! I suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too. Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run! I won't forgive something so messed up!
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too.
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, We need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Kaito. Sorry, that was a bit loud. Kaito.
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. But that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional?
So what do we talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tencrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious. Tencrotch!
The people who attended the seance. Alright, so Korekyo, Shuichi, Himiko, and Kokichi. Kibo did go, but then he was dismissed. This one says Kibo as well, and this one has Kaido, so it's this one here.
That's it! It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really... Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use? The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this. Very well, I shall begin the preparations at once.
Oh, right.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
A point of entry from outside. He must be referring to... Okay, so this one, it's not too hard, but you have to select the hole in the corner. Which is weird because it's like more so the hole under the floor, but
Talking
yeah.
about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person could move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Alright, time for another non-stop debate. So this is one that has a lie in it. So we're going to do the lie first because the lie pretty much just gives you a few extra
During the
things.
seance, by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance!
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Alright, here we go. It's true that with a little light you could move around under the floor. But is that possible?
The culprit
Okay,
slipped
so
in
if we
during the
pick
seance
Kibo's flashlight function,
by crawling under the floor.
and this one's a little bit tough actually to... The truth, by the way, or you're supposed to hit
You see, our villain had a light.
this statement with hole in the corner, I think, for the true statement.
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
But you have to hit Muse,
Huh?
so...
Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor.
So let's do this, lie. I think it says Kibo's flashlight drawbacks or something like that. So let's try.
Mew, you gave Kibo his flashlight function, correct? Did you not notice?
I didn't notice what.
It's hard to believe that Kibo is the culprit in this case. It's even harder to believe that this trial isn't being manipulated by someone. So even if I have to lie, I need to defend Kibo.
The drawback of the flashlight function that you added. It's so bright, even Kibo can't see when it's turned on.
I see. That bright, huh? Wait, what? There's no way a genius like me would make that kind of rookie mistake!
But you make mistakes a lot. A whole lot.
Hey! If you're gonna fuck me in front of everyone, at least buy me dinner first!
If he can't see, it doesn't matter how bright the area is. He couldn't move like that. So Kibo couldn't have been underneath the floor.
Is that true, Kibo? Is what Shuichi said true?
Come on, Kibo. Please, play along. Kibo.
Well, I'm so sorry. I just don't remember. Really, I'm sorry.
Ah, we get it already! Just turn it off! We're gonna go blind!
You don't remember? What does that even mean?
Well, Shuichi, trying to make a fool out of me, huh? Let me put on some makeup, cause I want to at least look pretty before you decide to fuck me!
Oh, it's one of the best lines.
Shuichi, I'm so sorry.
I love Kibo constantly.
Damn, that is seriously bright!
Wouldn't the light have shined through the gaps of the floorboard if it had been this bright?
Finally, the voice of reason. The hole.
The culprit couldn't have used a light under the floor. Not even Kibo.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is where it would start if you used hole in the corner in the culprit had a light. Maybe there would be a little bit beforehand, but yeah. Yes, the culprit couldn't have used the light under the floor, not even Kibo.
Oh, they couldn't have?
We were there after all. We would know. There was a hole near the corner of the room we were in, remember? If someone had a light under the floor, it would have leaked through.
But when we did the seance, I'm pretty sure the room was pitch black.
That's right. We didn't see anything, so the culprit couldn't have used a light.
And just because I have a built-in flashlight function does not mean I am the culprit.
I see. That was a flaw in my theory.
Geez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
This is the funniest trial in the game.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
Getting flashbanged over here.
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness.
I shouldn't say that with Mew around.
Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Gonta thinks that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that. That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
That's almost certainly a reference to Danganronpa 2, the first case.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over.
Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads!
Huh?
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
Alright, here we go. We've got a non-stop debate. Let's see if we can get this. I actually found this rather tough, like probably when I played it the first time.
Tenko got killed. It wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment cage was lifted?
Like that.
When cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no doubt!
Okay. Tenko not being killed during the seance. That might not be impossible, but there's no evidence for it. Alright, so this one's tricky.
It wasn't.
So, the first statement is... She was under the cage the whole time. Yes, that is true. We know that for a fact. There's one other statement towards the end, but I actually... Alright, moment cage was lifted. And if we do... did I miss it? I missed it. That's annoying. So you have to hit it with the white sheet. What does it say about the white sheet? The sheet that was over the iron cage during the seance. It's very thick and cannot be seen through. There's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet, but there's no hole in the fabric. Kyo was the one who placed the sheet over the cage and removed it off the cage. So it has to be the moment the cage was lifted because there's blood on the white sheet. And then this statement, Himiko is the culprit, is kind of like... I think it's supposed to be, you know, it's too early to remove that as a possibility or explore that as a possibility.
Under the cage, though.
Determine that as a possibility. Okay, come on, let me get this. Go. Go. Got it.
That's wrong.
No, that's wrong. Okay, we're doing pretty well. 10 minutes to go.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
I got your remodel right here.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Okay, we're gonna do a rebuttal showdown. I think some previous rebuttal showdowns I may have missed a few lines of dialogue because I didn't attack until the very end, so I apologize for that. I'm gonna try and do it here though, and for the remaining ones.
Tenko died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage. They stuck the thin blade through the gaps, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red.
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo!
There has to be a hole in Mew's logic somewhere. All I have to do is show the evidence that will counter Mew's claims. Alright, so she says Tenko was sitting in there, but we know that Tenko was crouched over because of the marker stone. Allow me to cut through your words. I'll cut through your words. Okay, cool. Doing well.
Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone, and the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that. Screw spirits.
Stop that now.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible. Spirits can't be culprits.
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
Wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage? If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
No, if there was someone else in the cage, we would have noticed.
I agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
You do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The they she's referring to. Alright, so this one's annoying because when it's obvious now, but it's one of those where it's like, when you do it, you kind of like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then it's like, it also doesn't make sense because there's no way that it would be the case. But she's saying Tenko committed suicide, which there's just no way. Like, based on her personality, it's impossible.
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
What did you say? Are you saying Tenko was the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage, and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
What a brilliant line.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Hey, Angie, when did you brainwash Himiko?
Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
What are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki?
Yeah, will you trust me to continue with this awesome class trial? Well, we'll find out next time. That didn't make any sense whatsoever. Oh well. I'm going to leave things there. So I want to thank you guys all for watching episode 62 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony. My name's Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.